I want to welcome you to the Engineer Your Success podcast. My name is Dr. James Bryant, your host for today's show. I hope that you had a very happy holiday, very good Christmas, and that you are looking forward to starting off 2023 strong, looking forward to that new year. Last week, we talked about your year in review, really setting yourself up for success for 2023. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about goal setting and just the broad categories as you begin to build the goals that for what you want to achieve in 2023. But before we get there, I'm just here to express gratitude for you, the podcast listeners, gratitude to my family and my friends, for all of the people that have been supporting me, gratitude for my clients, for choosing me to be their executive coach, for helping them to work through the challenges that they face in everyday life. And I'm absolutely excited and really happy to help my clients create a life, design a life where they can win at work and at home. And it is my pleasure to do so. Have a lot of things on tap for the coming year in 2023. One of the things that we want to do is start highlighting the wins that you have on a weekly basis, the things that you have been able to achieve. I want to highlight those. And we're going to start a segment called Wins Day, WINS Day, where we are going to highlight your wins. So if you follow me on social media, be on the lookout for the Wins Day videos. We're going to continue to move forward with the success on ramp. The next one is scheduled for January. These are small group, limited to 12 participants, small group meetings, where we're going to tackle things like overcoming procrastination, tools and tips for time management, just increasing your productivity, being a better communicator, increasing your capacity to lead. If those topics sound of interest to you, then go to the show notes. Click the link, the sleek bio link. That'll take you to a page that has several different things that we have going on, and you will see the success on ramp there. You click there, you will be able to schedule your spot, reserve your spot today. This is one of the complimentary things that we do for our community, and it's been amazing to see the breakthroughs that people have just during those success on ramp sessions. You do not want to miss your opportunity to get the breakthrough that you want for 2023. Really set your life on track to where you want to go. Take the on ramp to your success today. Okay. The other thing that we have coming up, I've mentioned this the past few episodes, is an online course, the Engineer's Blueprint for Success. We've taken the Engineer's Blueprint for a Balanced Life, reframed that, added some additional tools, and have a course now, the Engineer's Blueprint for Success. The first part of your blueprint for success is building your vision. You have to be able to build your vision. So in general, the Engineer's Blueprint, you want to build your vision, you want to build your foundation, you want to build your plan, and build the life that you love, where you are winning at work and at home. Be on the lookout for more information about the course. We're also working on a membership community as well, so more information will be coming out about that. So enough about what's going on and about what we're evolving into as we continue to grow, as our community continues to grow. Let's start talking about setting goals. And so we've gone through, talked about a year in review. So you've looked at the accomplishments that you had this past year. You looked at the things that went well, the things that didn't go so well. You looked at what are your opportunities to learn from both your successes and your failures. And by doing that, you begin to set the groundwork for really tweaking those things that need to be tweaked, eliminating those things that really didn't work or wasn't a good fit for you, and leveraging those things that actually work. We really want to double down and leverage on the things that are working. You find what's working and pull that lever and continue to accelerate your success. That's really what you're trying to do. But when you think about these broad categories, people will say, James, what's the right amount of goals to have? I don't know, but I do know this, that you can't work on everything at once, but you can start to capture those things that are important to you. And they could just be a brainstorm of activity. So even in this stage, we're not talking about developing SMART goals. I think at this stage, what I'm talking about is capturing these areas that you want to develop goals in. And I think you'll be able to refine them into SMART goals as you go along. So for myself, some of the categories may include career, business, relationships, family, both family and friends. Travel, you could have a goal for travel, or that could be one of your categories. You can look at service in terms of providing a service to your community. You can look at spiritual. What are some of the spiritual goals that you have? Health goals, learning goals in terms of learning and self-development, financial goals, not only from an investing perspective or saving perspective, but what are the goals that you have to give back to your community, whether you're talking about giving to your church or another charitable organization? I think it's important to incorporate giving as part of an overall framework for your goals. And what I would encourage you to do is, let's say you go through this list and you come up with 20 different things. Okay. There are 20 different categories or things that you said that were important. Prioritize those. But I would encourage you to select one goal in a few of these areas. So it could be one goal for your health, one goal for your career, one goal for your relationships, family and friends, and a goal for spiritual or service. Just pick those broad categories and prioritize the things that are important to you, that most important to you. It's not that the other things aren't important, but you have to choose where you want to start in terms of building your goals. Because once you get your goals, you're going to then make them SMART goals. You're going to put some time limits on them. And from those time limits and the things that you are going to actually measure, you're going to build habits into your day-to-day life to help you achieve those goals. So for me, some of the health goals that I have, many of you who follow the podcast know I ran my first 10K race last year. It was great. Prior to last year, I always said that I hated running. I was not going to run. I am not a runner. I had an epiphany about a year and a half ago during the pandemic where I was so fed up, wasn't able to go to the gym, that I began to visualize myself running. From that visualization came me going out to run. And from that came me actually entering into a 10K race. It's absolutely great. One of the things that I learned is that to make sure that I have another race that's scheduled sometime after that, because I hit my goal and let up. And by letting up, I didn't keep running. And so I'm back in the training process now. But one of my health goals for myself for 2023 is to run in 2 10K races next year. So I'm going to do the Monument Avenue U-Crops 10K, but I'm also going to select another 10K later in the year so that I can have that already pre-programmed and planned to train and continue to encourage that running habit. Another goal that I have is to reduce my overall body weight by 10%. So I'm working on that. That has to do with both exercise and nutrition. Some of the habits that roll into that is not only the daily exercise, but in keeping track of what I'm eating. I also want to decrease my percentage of body fat to under 20%. And I want to increase my maximum run jog distance without stopping, right? Without stopping, without having to take a break to over 6 miles. So I want my normal to be the threshold of the 10K. I want that to be a normal run for me. And these are goals that I have for the whole year. What I would typically do in terms of building this out, and we'll talk about this next week, is start to take this goal and break it up into chunks per quarter. What do I want to do this quarter? So if I want to run 6 miles be able to run 6 miles as my normal by the end of the year, what's my goal for the first quarter? What's my goal for the second quarter? What's my goal for the third quarter? All within the context of this overarching goal that I have for the year. In terms of learning, some of the learning goals that I have, I'm going to get some additional coach training. I think as a coach, it is great for me to have a coach, right? It is incongruent for me not to be coached. So I want to continue to maintain having a coach. I also want to continue to grow and take some additional coach training. One of the other things that I have is to read a physical book a month, one physical book a month. There are other books that I read electronically. There are other things that I may read in terms of an audiobook, but just getting back to the sense of taking a physical book and reading it. And this will tie into one of my family goals. One of the things that we're starting to do, just started this earlier this week, is doing a family book club. So it's myself, my wife, my 14-year-old, my 15-year-old, just sitting down, doing a family book club. The first book that we are going through is the seven habits of highly effective teens. So we're going through that. And I think that's going to be really cool. It's combining a few things that's on my list: family time, learning time, being able to connect with my wife and connect with my kids, and just being able to flourish and grow as a family. So I'm really excited about that. Who knows? We may do a family podcast episode talking about that. We'll see if I'll be able to talk them into that. And one of the other things that I'm including in my learning goals for this year, and I would encourage you to consider something like this, and that is to implement one new ideal or reinforce an existing practice that I have from something that I've learned during the month. Then you may not be able to implement 12 new ideals, 12 new things over the course of the year, but there may be practices that you currently have that can be reinforced by what you're learning. Just being able to capture that. This month I've tweaked my prayer time, my quiet time, to include 3 minutes of journaling. Maybe that's something that I would have picked up in a book, but it's something as simple as that to continue to build the momentum as to what you are growing and what you are actually doing. In terms of self-care, I have a self-care goal, just generally to continue my well-being practices, but also just picking one day a month just for me to do something that really refuels me. And that's just for me, whether that's going on a hike by myself, whether that, I don't know what the activity is going to be yet. So that activity is to be determined. But again, these are goal categories. I'll develop SMART goals along the way for this. From a spiritual perspective, my number one goal there is, I have two I guess equally goals there. And one is to show up as my whole self, which includes my faith wherever I go, wherever I am, whenever I am. My faith is a part of who I am, so that's part of me. So when I show up, it shows up. Also is to live out the fruit of the Spirit in my everyday life. And so keeping track of that is just, I have a little habit tracker that says, did I live out the fruit of the Spirit today? Did I exhibit joy, love, peace, self-control, kindness, patience? And if I've embodied one of those attributes, then for me, that's a win. And so that's a way that I keep track of that. In terms of family and friends, I want to take an epic family adventure again this year. Last year, we were on the air, took the kids and the family on the airplane ride for the first time. So it's pretty cool. I know they're older, but it was our first time as a family going away. The kids are really excited about that. They want to do that. My wife and I went to St. Lucia. It was really cool. So just planning an epic family adventure for 2023, as well as a family vacation. I look at those as two different things. And then one weekend per quarter just for my wife and I to get away and do some things. And of course, I have several business goals in terms of a top line revenue number, increasing the number of corporate clients that I have, increasing the clients that I have at academic institutions, the completion or the creation of this online course, start a group coaching program, as well as be a guest on 50 podcasts in 2023. And the last topic that I'll cover is service, where I just want to continue to serve my church and my community, and also consider going on some type of domestic mission trip. And we have a family service projects as part of what I want to do as well. Just being able to do 4 family service projects a year so we can continue to instill into the kids about giving back to the community. So those are some of the goal areas that I have. Next week, what I'll do is take a few of those and kind of break down how my approach to accomplishing those goals throughout the year, but really it's quarter by quarter. What's the focus on quarter one? What's going to be the focus on quarter two? What's going to be the focus on quarter three? And then celebrating along the way. I hope you found this conversation helpful. And I will end this podcast like I end every podcast. And that is, many people know what to do. Fewer people know how to do it. And there's a select group of people that actually follow through and do it. And I really want you to be part of that select few, moment by moment, day by day, accomplishing what you want, living the life of your dreams, winning at work and at home. Be great today. And depending on when you're listening to this, happy new year.